listen, why are we putting up posters around campus? We want to be seen. We want exposure. And it's not just because of the people who actually show up. It's also for the 10 plus for everyone who actually does show up, who was like, I really want to go. Because they'll come later. The rule in psychology, and I learned this in a Psych 101 class at North Idaho College, is that someone has to see something 10 times before they register it. Now, not you, you're individuals. Individuals are not statistics. We're talking about human populations. Human populations do function according to statistical averages. There are outliers. Individuals are always being outliers whenever they're being individuals, but the rest of the time, you're a statistic. And statistically, you got to see it 10 times before you notice it. I've talked about organizing theory, time management, labor power. We talked about mapping the future of the next few semesters. We're going to come back to that next week. This week's, it's very short. It's very sweet. It's just poster creation. Creation and distribution. I have created 2 posters for next week. The Bernie cadre meets Thursdays in this room from 6 to 8 or so. Okay. And basically what we'll be doing is a little bit of outreach because these posters will bring some people in. So we'll explain why we're supporting Bernie, and then we'll do some phone banking, right? The thing that I wanted to see this as an opportunity, though, because I just made some posters, to be like, what is a poster? Okay, well, the difference between organizing an event for your local community where you're, say, putting on a documentary viewing and organizing a movie night at your own house with 3 to 5 friends is basically the same, just a few extra steps. The most important thing is what is it, where is it, and when is it? So it's those 3 W's. What, where, and when. Now, you probably want to consult other people. You probably want to make sure that there's interest for this thing. Or maybe you look at some demographical, statistical sort of analysis and get a sort of feel for it. Oh, people are into this. Okay, cool. We can do that then. And then you want to make sure you're not competing with too many other people. Thursday night, you are competing with too many other people, but that's just the way it is on campuses. That's the way it'll be. The other thing is that you want it to be like obvious. You don't want to have a lot of information. You don't want to have a lot of text. Someone like me, I feel like the need to be comprehensive, to give a lot of information. You can't do that. The name of the poster of the event needs to be self-explanatory. Unless you're trying to be all like, oh, we're going to attract people who are just really into not knowing what the fuck is going on and they're just into that. Like, they just dropped acid and they thought, that looks like a cool poster. I have no idea what it's about. Cool, all right, you can do that. But if you want to reach people on something very specific, you have to really think about the title, and that's the what. And then the only other information that's necessary is where and when. Now, you can have an email for contact. That might be wise to do on these ones. You're not going to see that. And then get creative with it. And sometimes getting creative with it makes it a little hard to read. That's why you want to show it to other people and get some feedback. This is 2 versions of the poster that I'm going to show you right now. I think we're just going to use both versions. So tomorrow, I got it. Tomorrow.
That doesn't work.
Oh, really? Okay. Tomorrow we're going to do distribution, right? So preferably the people who want to do the distribution with me, we're going to figure out when we're going to do that. There's actually a sign-up sheet right here. I'm asking people to text me like when works. And you were saying it doesn't matter like if we all do it at the same time or whatever, but actually it would be a lot easier if it's just like 3 of us all go together. And there's specific places on campus that we want to concentrate. Okay, go for it. One of these is Vaporwave. The other one is Cyberpunk. On the left is Vaporwave. It's the aesthetic of nostalgia, of 80s nostalgia specifically. Cyberpunk is also a sort of nostalgia for the futures that we could have had. Or actually, Cyberpunk's more of like dystopias that we're kind of on the course towards, right? Look, we are headed towards a dystopia. Alan, you're thinking about radical video games? Neo-feud. Neo-feud, as in neo-feudalism, right? Is a cyberpunk video game that it's supposed to radicalize people who are already into the genre. And who's into the genre? Everyone who works at Google, everyone who works at Apple, everyone who works at Microsoft. They're all into cyberpunk. They are. They fucking love it. But they don't think politically. They're like Joe Rogan people. They're like Yang Gang. They're not really into politics, but you can radicalize them. Anyway, so cyberpunk, vaporwave. Now, this was really simple. All I did was type cyberpunk background, and then I on Google, and then I looked for large, because you can get into the settings and do large, and then there you go. And then vaporwave, same thing. There you go. And then I did a cutout of Bernie on each one. Bam. It's very straightforward. Now, the tutorial on how to do that with Photoshop is coming. The tutorial on how to do that with GIMP, which is free, is coming. And I'll show you all how to do that stuff later. But right now, I'm trying to focus on what's going on here. You know what it is. Not liberals for Bernie. Okay? It's very clear what that is. It's not liberals who are for Bernie. Conservatives and independents for Bernie. Also very clear. Not liberals. And then you have the place, and you have the time. And if it wasn't every Thursday, if it didn't say every Thursday on there, it would have to have the dates. And because we don't have a Bernie thing tomorrow at that time, I'm actually going to just go ahead and add the dates. I really am. So that's something I have to come back here and add to. Okay. The last thing I want to say about posters, and this is something I always remind people when they come to help distribute posters. I always am reminding people of this. It's very important. Listen, why are we putting up posters around campus? We want to be seen. We want exposure. And it's not just because of the people who actually show up. It's also for the 10 plus for everyone who actually does show up, who was like, I really want to go. Because they'll come later. So it's important that we always have a poster presence on campus, so that we're always putting ourselves inside people's minds, because basically they come up on the radar, and then over time you go up on the priority list, right? It's very important that a person sees something a lot of times before the event. Now, this is very short notice, right? It's only a week, but because it's every Thursday, they'll get the hang of it. Now, if this was an event that we were planning it and we were trying to get a lot of people there, you want these posters to go out ideally like 3 weeks in advance. Okay, 5 weeks out is a little too much, and they're going to get tore down. 3 is ideal. Now, the poster route makes it easy, but it's very hard to get on the poster route. We can talk about that later. Whoops, this does work. Oh, shit. I guess. Yeah, can you fix that? Got it. The rule in psychology, and I learned this in a Psych 101 class at North Idaho College, is that someone has to see something 10 times before they register it. Now, not you, you're individuals. Individuals are not statistics. We're talking about human populations. Human populations do function according to statistical averages. There are outliers. Individuals are always being outliers whenever they're being individuals, but the rest of the time, you're a statistic. And statistically, you got to see it 10 times before you notice it. Okay? So what does that mean, though? It means that you want to concentrate posters in areas. That's more important to concentrate in an area than to be spread out all over the place in random spots. Okay, you want to maximize visibility means that in the education, also education building, in the stairwell, on the insides and outsides of those doors, but also in the ILC where there's a bulletin board on each side of the hallway to the bathrooms when you come up the stairs and you come around there, right? Some people would only do one poster there. Oh, we got it. No, you got to be front and center and on both, because you got to maximize the amount of times that someone sees a poster as fast as possible. And so that's it. That's my talk. Thanks, everybody.